In the age of the gods, mankind built a giant tower in a sacred place in an attempt to reach the world of the gods. That arrogance angered the gods, and it is said that the entire city was leveled. You meet a still remember Lucane's lecture on rune activation? In order to defeat the golem blocking your path, you need to have a golem of your own. The demons noticed the statue come to life and have come to disrupt the park. Protect your golem so that it does not get destroyed before it reaches the temple. Stone tablet has been placed high upon the altar in the center of the temple. When you remove it and replace it with the Holy Seal, the ruins are purified with a blinding light. You decide to take the evil-looking stone tablet back with you.